Guys, how's it going? Welcome to my video. So I am stranded at Sears right now. I'm stranded at Sears right now trying to get my car started for the last 30 minutes, and it kind of sucks because nothing is happening right now. I went to Sears to get something, a couple of tools, came back to my truck, and nothing happens. All right, nothing turns on. All the lights work. Blow motor works, the radio works, everything works except nothing else as far as the car cranking up is concerned. The car's not cranking up at all. So basically what I did was, thought maybe it was a dead battery. I went out, checked out the battery, see if the terminals were corroded or not. Terminals were not corroded. All right, turned on my headlights, went out and checked my headlights to see whether they were bright, and they were pretty bright. So I'm like, I can't rule out 100% that's the battery. And I had this situation happen to me about a month and a half ago where it took me more than 6 tries to get it started, and it did start up that time, but this time around, I tried starting it up maybe like 12-15 times and nothing happened. And I was like, maybe it's the battery that's the problem. So went back into Sears, bought a battery pack and tried it. And I realized after I bought it, you got to charge that up. I mean, it was charged up like 75%. I tried it on a 75% charge. Nothing happens. So I'm like, oh, okay, I got to return this. Bad thinking on my part. So I'm going to have to ask somebody to help me get a jump. I probably need the battery pack anyway because of what happened last time. I just didn't get around to buying it, but I'm going to return this for another one, a better one. Anyway, I asked a couple of people to help me, get the car started. One guy had some jumper cables and we tried a couple of times, had the cables on the truck for, I'd say, a good 4 to 5 minutes, and then tried starting it up. It didn't work. Nothing worked. I'm like, at that point, I knew it was going to be a bigger issue. Probably wasn't the battery. I was hoping it was the battery. I would have gone into Sears, bought another battery, put it in. I didn't think it was the battery to begin with. I didn't think it was the battery last time. So it's not the battery. So I was thinking maybe it could be the alternator. Maybe it was the alternator, but, thinking previous situations where my car wouldn't start or died out because of the alternator, I realized that it wouldn't be the alternator because it would not be the alternator because my truck, it wouldn't be the alternator because this truck would have at least cranked up and started with the jump, and it would have died out once I took the cables off, and it didn't happen. So I could rule out the battery and the alternator. So I'm thinking to myself, man, okay, it's going to be a bigger problem. I mean, I'm glad it wasn't the alternator, but I think the alternator would have been an easy part to swap out than another part. I'm hoping it's not. But at this point, I was thinking, just let's go down the list of things that could have caused this. It's not the alternator, it's not the battery. 100% sure of that. Probably the relay or the fuse. It could be the relay or the fuse. Now, I opened up the fuse box, checked out all the fuses, the relays. Nothing looked like it was burnt or anything like that. Checked out the starter relay, and I swapped it out for another relay on the fuse, in the fuse box, and that did nothing. Tried to start up, nothing happened. But I didn't think it was a relay to begin with. Did not think it was a relay to begin with. So, but because it was the car was actually making a click. It was like a faint clicking sound every time I try to start up. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe it's the fuse. So I went, out of all the fuse situations that I've had where my car wouldn't start, I've had a couple of them. One of them, the main fuse was blown, and basically all of the electricity in the car, none of it worked. But that's not the case in this situation, because I'm getting electricity throughout the truck, and that's not the same situation. So it could be the other situation where I had a fuse issue, where the fuse pump blew. Now that other situation, I was able to crank my car up, but it just wouldn't turn over. So I switched that out, and the car worked without any problem. The car that I had. This truck, however, that's not the same situation, considering it's not even cranking up at all. So I know it's not the fuel pump. But I did go back into Sears, bought a fuse tester from the auto department, checked out all the fuses. Lit up without any issues. So it's not a fuse. So at this point, I'm thinking that it's probably the starter that's causing it. I'm not 100% sure that it is the starter on this truck that's causing it, but I did have the starter swapped out, I'd say about a year and a half ago, I think. Probably a year ago. And I haven't put on any more than probably like 15,000 miles on this truck since I got it. And it's gonna suck if that is the case. Now I don't know 100% if that is the case, because I haven't tested out at this point. Tripway is going to pick up this truck, because I've done as much testing as I could do on the road in the parking lot. And I'm going to have to get this car towed to my house, and then we'll figure out what that situation is. But if you guys want to just I'm gonna keep you guys updated on this. So I did work on my truck. It's the next day. I did work on it. Guess what? It was the starter that was the problem. It was the starter that was. Man, I did some tests on the starter. I did the little relay test where you put a wire to like two of the sockets on the relay, and the starter didn't start up at all. Just bypassing everything, the starter didn't start up at all. So at that point, I knew it was the starter that was the problem. Spent some time taking the starter out, went back to AutoZone, had complained to them that that starter did not last me. That starter, that was a bad purchase on that starter, and they told me that there's nothing they could do about it, but it was under warranty. They gave me another remanufactured starter, and I was told by them that the reason why the new starters were more expensive than the rebuilt starters is because on the rebuilt starters they only swap out the one thing that's broken on the starter that you bring in. The rest of it is has pretty much the same mileage that it had when the car died, which is crazy to me. And you guys didn't know that they do not swap out everything when they rebuild the starter. They don't do any of that. Sucks. But it was under warranty. I did, get it for free, I guess, but still, it's killing my time. I put it in. It starts right up without any problem at all. Starts up every time. So it was definitely the starter that was the issue. I don't know. I'm really hoping that this starter lasts me a lot longer than the last one. You know? But it is what it is, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, if it has helped you guys out in any way, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe. If you guys have any comments at all, please leave a comment in the comment section. If this situation comes up again, I'll make another video of it. Hopefully this starter that I got lasts me a lot longer than the previous one, guys. All right, take care.